In going through the Bible by books and by chapters, we've now come to Exodus chapter 15, which is right after Israel crosses the Red Sea. And Moses sings a song. There's lots of songs in the Bible, and when we typically think of singing, most of the time we think of, you may think of a choir, or you may think of congregational singing, or some kind of group of people singing. What's interesting is that here we see one person singing, and Miriam will sing later. And a lot of the passages in the New Testament can be understood also as one person singing to many. Sing one to another. Now, there's one person singing to another. Can you do it as a group? Sure, I think you can. But oftentimes the singing that's taking place, or the singing that's being talked about, seems to be an individual song. That's what's taking place here, as Moses teaches these people with his singing. There's one teacher teaching many people through song. Other times there will be songs of praise, and there's many different ways and different things that you'll see going on with songs. But the Song of Moses is a big deal. It's going to be talked about over and over again. It comes into play in the book of Revelation, where you sing the Song of Moses and the Lamb. It talks about singing a new song as opposed to this old song. It's a song of salvation, a song of redemption, a song of God's deliverance. Well, Moses says some pretty interesting things in this song. He talks about how the Lord is a man of war, and the Lord is his name. How often do you think of God as an incredible warrior? Well, he is our commanding general. He is the commander-in-chief of the hosts of the Lord's army, fighting against Satan. Moses will also say, "Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glorious deeds, doing wonders? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them." There is no God like God amongst all of the pagan religions. I've talked to people who are Hindu, people who have beliefs in all these many, many millions of gods. The ancient Greeks, who had their wide array of gods, the Romans, who seemed to adopt every pagan god that they came across into their own culture. None of those gods can touch Jehovah. Every great thing that they saw, they made up another god for all these things. But Jehovah is not like any of them. He is able to do all of the things that we see around us. He is the one who breathed everything into existence, and he proves that by performing the miracles that he does in Egypt. He proves that by choosing Israel, the smallest and weakest of all people, and pulling them out of the strongest nation in the world. Only God could do that. It goes on in this chapter to say some pretty incredible things. There's this place called Marah, where Israel comes across some bitter water in the wilderness, and God tells Moses to throw a tree into it. And it doesn't make sense. Why would we do that? Well, Moses listens to God. He throws the tree into the water, and the water becomes drinkable. And then God is going to make a covenant, a promise with these people. It says in the text, beginning in about verse 25, halfway through, it says, "The Lord made for them a statute and a rule, and there he tested them, saying, If you will diligently listen to the voice of the Lord your God, do what is right in his eyes, and give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you that I put on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord, your healer." Well, God is going to protect them if they will do what he says. Remember earlier we talked about an emphasis on the word of the Lord, or God's voice. If they will do what God says, God will protect them and take care of them. He will be their God, and they will be his people. That is the same promise that we have today. If we will listen to God's voice and do what God says, he will protect us, he will keep us, he will be our God, and we will be his people. That's Exodus chapter 15.